I like that spider. Is that Spider-Man behind you?
That is Spider-Man,
So
yeah.
good, so good.
Speaking of good, this season is so good. It just continues to get better with every season. And I spoke to you back during season two. I was a diehard Lost fan, and one of those things every season was, does the cast know what's going on? Do the writers know where this is going? And I wanted to ask you, with the complexity and the mythology growing around what is happening in this town, how much do you know about where this is going in the end?
I'm purposefully ignorant about going to happen in the end, and I'm being so trusting and like when I talked to John Griffin, and when I talked to Jeff Pinkner, they were like, when we sold the show, we sold it with the ending.
Okay.
And they were like, they asked us, do you have an ending? We were like, yes, if you buy it, we'll tell you. And so they've always had the ending, and I've always known that. That being said, because we have this condensed form, we're not like Lost with the 26 episode. We got 10 every season. And if we keep getting picked up, do you know what I mean? I know that they know exactly where they're going, right?
Okay.
And so John always describes it like this. Say you're going from A to Z. You're always going to Z. If somewhere you go like, oh, wow, that'd be a really cool turn at J to go this way and to go, from R to go over here, but we're always going to Z. We're never going anyplace else. Once he told me that, I was like, yeah, I'm really cool. Don't tell me until I have to know when we're at Z, because what I want to do is experience it as we're going. I want to experience it like the people watching it are going to experience it. Like, tell me like right before I go to do it. And so and luckily we did Lost, and so it gave me the facility to be able to like, do it like that. And so it's been really good.
One of the big things that I noticed that's different is Lost obviously was a network TV show, so there's certain limits. So even what I would consider like PG-13 material, there's a limit. But because gore and violence and even profanity, it feels more natural. So do you feel like not having those limits on how you can speak the dialogue and, dropping an F-bomb here and there, like there's a moment when you say, we're going to go get those motherfuckers, and it feels real.
Right.
Yeah, did you notice that difference on your side?
I do. Yeah, it does. It does feel real. We've played with it and sometimes said words and they go like, okay, I mean, that's a little too real. So we've had to pull it back. But yeah, that brings a certain kind of spontaneity and presentness to it. Like that, you know what I mean? That when you get to like say something or when you see something that's like, here's the thing. What I think the creative people do like after we shoot it is that they take some things and they'll show you all the explicit things and it's really terrible. And then sometimes they won't show you anything. And whatever's happening in your mind, that's the scariest thing about what's going on. And so I like the playing back and forth between those things. We say some things, we show some things, we don't show other things, we don't say it, and then let you participate in a way. And that's actually, I think, really genius storytelling. I like it.
There's a scene like that I think really resonated because I've seen the first 5 episodes. I don't want to give any spoilers away. I'll just call it the barn scene where something messed up's happening, but it's on your face the whole time. And it's just, you have to convey all of that. What was it like filming that sequence?
I mean, it was really tricky because it really is just me. And, it's not one of those things that you want anybody to be going through like on the other side of the camera, like, hey, could you do this thing while while the camera's at me? And so like I have to come up with lots of really horrific things to make you buy that scene. And it's I felt really honored that Jack entrusted me with that scene, like to just like we're gonna let the audience figure it out, and we're gonna come in and you're gonna let us know with your face what's happening. And so it's really cool, but really heartbreaking to do.
And, it's an amazing scene. I think that so far this season, it's deepening. Just like you said, I want to keep seeing what's going to happen. I can't wait for more to come.
Yeah.
I can't wait for everybody to check it out. Great season. And you are all-time best Mercutio ever. brings a lot of the vibes of, I was a big fan of Lost when that show was on, big fan of the X-Files. You got all these genre elements to it, but From just takes it up a notch in terms of just how freaky it is, how scary it is, and just mainly with how engrossing these characters are. And I think your character has had quite a road over the three seasons, and especially at the beginning of the season, it seems to be more intense. What was it like kind of coming into this season for you playing this character?
Um, that's a great question because I think it almost feels now at some point. George Lucas used to say that Star Wars is like a poem. It rhymes, and and I think that to some degree it feels that way about From because it's almost like at the top of every season, Kenny's about to go through something extremely traumatic, um, and um, and so you kind of brace yourself for it. And in between seasons, we don't really know what the writers are cooking up, but you kind of hope like, oh, like maybe it'll be, this or that. And um, you just didn't, you can't really expect walking into the season that like, oh yeah, you're about to lose everything that's left in your life.
And I mean, not to give anything away, people have probably seen the first episode, and that ends in such a powerful and gut-wrenching place. But then I think it's the next episode, you go through like the whole range of emotions in that, and it ends with such a great sequence. Did you have to kind of find a different place to find that in Kenny compared to what you've gone through in prior seasons?
Yeah, I mean, so. First of all, I've been lucky that I've received some very kind words about the work in those two episodes so far, and that's something that I always need to hear. And it is different. It's extremely relatable to a degree because I'm such a mama's boy in real life. Like I love my mom, and it's the idea of losing her. Um, is just it's too much. It's too much. And under the circumstances in which Kenny lost Tian Shen makes it really just pushed over the edge. And there was something about the fact that like so during season two, I had we welcomed a beautiful baby boy into our family, and there was something about going into shooting season three with Tian Shen and the thought of like this idea of my son growing up without his grandmother that was really really tough. And so yeah, the preparation is more or less the same, but it just felt like it was dialed up to a 20.
And for you as a as an actor, you forge a relationship with these other actors and they're playing different roles. And then obviously there's a connection there on screen as well as off screen. What was it like kind of knowing that part of that relationship with your co-star was coming to an end with how this was that challenging as well?
Yeah, like so Liz Moy is incredible. She's from Vancouver, and that's where I'm from. And her story of how she kind of got into it is also really incredible. Like she worked in HR for an airline for like over decades, and she retired, and she really wanted to try something else. So she gave it a shot, and she got on From, and that's when we started working. And so there's something about this woman who has such just like a wholesome happy dream, and like not that and that it was given to her, and for it to come to an end for now on this show was really really tough. And I'll give you a little inside scoop, a little JoBlo exclusive. I did a horrible horrible thing where when we had our kind of like first cast dinner going back into the season, but it was also like the last time we'd probably all be together with Elizabeth. Corchion, like a fucking idiot, made a joke like, "Oh, you should do a toast." And I thought, yeah, yeah, I'll do a toast. Harold's sitting right there. Yeah, I'll do a toast. And so I did like a gag toast. I was like, all right, but yeah, da, 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 da. We welcomed a new cast member in, and we're like, oh yeah, and that's it. Okay, cool. And at the end of the dinner, he goes, "Dude, you didn't even say anything about Liz. Like, you didn't even send her off. You didn't give her a toast. Didn't give her a proper toast." And that is something that I'll regret for the rest of my life.
That's, unfortunate, but very funny. So my wife is Asian, so my kids multi-ethnic, and it's really important for me and for them to kind of see representation on screen. But one of the
Mm.
things that kind of always strikes me is And it doesn't happen here, but there's a lot of series where they have to kind of force feed it and go over the top with saying this character is a minority or this character is this. This series just, it's organically, you are a character. The family is just another group of characters. It doesn't have to kind of push that, oh, we're gonna, really have like a flashback moment that shows Asian heritage or things like that.
Mhm.
Did that feel organic to you? And was that something that you noticed that it was just natural in this series?
Yeah, for sure. Because that's always been something that's obviously very important to me as well. And I'm sure you and your wife have talked about this, a lot, where it's like there's this endless feeling growing up watching media where it's like, well, that's just not, it goes from like really bad, like, what the fuck is this, to like, well, that's just not how that conversation would happen. And so it was really important for me, and of course Liz Moy, to like really sit down and have these conversations about what would these conversations look like. And the interesting thing is, actually, I transcribe a lot of the dialogue that is in Cantonese, because the writers will send the draft, and then me and Liz have a conversation of like, okay, this is what I would say. What would you say? Yeah, that's pretty good. I wouldn't say this, and then we kind of tweak it together. And so in terms of the dialogue, that part, and just in terms of their relationship, like you said, I think the most important thing, when we're talking about representation, is I want to be able to see families that look like me, families that don't look like me, engage in a way that is organic and that is authentic. And I think the number one step is to just focus on the relationship, and to focus on how they are with each other, how they interact with the world. And I think, yeah, From does a really great job of that. And I'm proud of that, and I'm proud to be a part of it.
And with shows like this as well, Lost kind of set one of those precedents where you would not see some character deaths coming. How safe do you feel as a cast member? Not obviously giving any spoilers away, but coming into the season, how safe did you feel, or were you constantly going, I don't know if I'm going to make it to the end of the season?
There is always there's always this feeling, this cloud over your head, like it could happen any moment now. In our first ever table read, Jeff Pinkner basically said to all of us, because of the nature of a story like that, anyone could go at any given moment. And so that's all ever present. And um, but there was a little bit of like, we might be okay, because there's no way he's gonna kill Kenny's dad and then kill me, or kill Kenny's mom. It's just not gonna happen. And then they took Kenny's mom. So now, who knows? Who knows? John could just wipe out the whole Liu clan. I think he could do it. I think he has it in him.